which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting at the Mitchell County Courthouse. And in front of us, we have an agenda. County attorney will not be available today. And then number 7 and 8. Number 7 being discussion and possible action on 28E agreement with Eldridge. And number 8, discussion of county funding for nonprofits. We will set that back another week and hit that next week's meeting. Is there any other corrections to this agenda or comments? Hearing none, do we have any motions to approve the agenda with the changes stated?
I'll move to approve the agenda as the chairman stated the changes.
Jim has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving on. Approve the minutes of September 14th meeting. Have we had a chance to read? Is there any additions or corrections to last week's meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mark has made a motion to approve September 14th minutes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Todd has seconded. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Last week's minutes have been approved. Moving down, county or sheriff's update, and I don't see the sheriff here, and he's not speaking, so we'll say the sheriff's not here. Department head discussion. I don't see only one department head here, and he's not looking up, so we will move on down to county engineer update. Richard.
Morning.
Good morning.
Few things. We got the 320th Street Bridge back open for now. Well, it will be, I guess. We still got some patching to do on the deck. When we took the pavement panels off, the edge kind of crumbled just from age. So we got some guys, we're going to try to patch that today and tomorrow, I think. When we took the panels out, we got everything retied back. The dead men are tied back. We took the east side off because we had noticed some settling there. They did a little bit more excavation, found a hole down behind the back wall again down there, so we redid that whole back wall too, and all those dead men were busted, so we pulled them back. Unfortunately, it sounds like FEMA's not coming in to do anything, so that'll be all of our dollars and cents, which is the way it is, I guess. But so that bridge will be, we're going to let some traffic pound it. Once we get the patching on the bridge deck edge done, we're going to let the traffic pound on it, and then later this fall we'll patch those approaches back in and be done with that. But let some traffic get that compaction pushed back in. So that's that bridge. Underwood, the piles driven yesterday, they poured the footing. So once they get the footing cured out, they'll start doing some rebar tying and some form work for the back walls there. I think they were talking about setting beams probably in 2 weeks. So that one will get going. I still haven't heard anything on Balsam yet. So we don't know when that's scheduled to be shut down. Last I knew, they were still going to try to do it this fall. So we'll see where that comes in. And that one's a slab deck, so it's got a little bit different construction than a beam bridge, so it might just go a little faster. But we'll see how that turns out.
Is it girders or is it concrete pre-stressed beams?
On our Balsam Bridge, that's a slab.
No, I mean on the up at the
Bailey,
the
on
Bailey
Underwood,
Bridge.
that's going to be precast concrete beams.
Okay.
So, and they're already made, so they're just got to ship them in.
Okay.
We took bids. We got quotes in yesterday for the motor graders that we were quoting out. I want to evaluate the numbers a little bit before I bring it to you guys. Since we did take them, I can tell you what the numbers are. We got quotes on a, Cat doesn't make a 12M3 anymore, they went to they call it a 140 now, they changed their whole lineup. So we got a quote for a 140 tandem axle. The base price bid for a Cat 140 was $345,962.18, and that includes the snow equipment, which is the hinky stuff we've been running. They are offering us a $45,000 trade on one of our Volvos, Unit 910, which has only 4 gears that operate, so they gave us a good chunk of money on there. And then we did a 7-year, 7,000-hour warranty with no travel charges, and that on the bid was $11,810. But with all the add-ons and the trade-in value, the bottom dollar is $312,772.18 for a Cat 140. Now that's the joystick controlled machine. They did give me a quote for an antler rack machine, which I don't know that we want to go back to the antler racks again, but they do make a full antler rack machine. I think everybody's stuck on the joysticks, and the antler rack obviously is a little cheaper. So then John Deere, they were a little nervous about, we wanted to quote a 140 versus a 770, which is pretty close. They came in last week and were kind of showing off they got a circle now that doesn't have wear parts. They use the circle off of an excavator rotating unit. That's how they run their circle, but it's a $10,000 upcharge from the standard circle that they used to have. But so if you remember, the base price for a 140 Cat was $345,000. They asked if they could quote a 670. I said, you can quote a 670, but I also want to quote for a 770. So their hard price on a 670 was $346,225, which is pretty close to the Cat 140. However, they're only giving us $7,000 trade. So their bottom line is $339,000 for a 670. Their 770 price is going to be a lot higher. Their base price was $367,975 with a $7,000 trade, with charges of that machine at $360,975. So, but I want to go through some of these numbers and make sure we're comparing a lot of things. But to me, the Cat's probably going to be the overall machine that we're going to pick just based on price, and it's probably not much different than the M3. They've upgraded some of their emissions things, redesigned their DEF pumps. There's no EGR cooler now, and they've got improved engine compartment access, I guess. So we'll look at it, and I'll bring you guys my recommendation next week if that works for you guys.
Is the 770 about the same weight and horsepower as the 140?
Everybody's messing around with their horsepowers that I can never tell. Looking at looking at everything, one manufacturer says, here's how we test our horsepower. The other one says, well, that's not how they do it. Here's how we do it. So they're similar machines. A lot of counties are bidding the 140 versus the 770. There are some counties, not many that I've seen, are doing a 150 versus a 770, but I'm not seeing many 670s being bid against the 140. But we've got all the prices here.
So the 770 is more comparable to the 140 is?
Well, it all depends on who you talk to.
Well, yeah.
Weight-wise, I'd have to look. That's why I want to look a little bit more at the weight stuff, because there are different weights. But what's really weird is when you look at the Cat pamphlets and stuff, they have different horsepowers for the same machine and different weights for the same. So there's just a lot of things to sort out yet. But I think overall the 140 is going to be similar to the 12 M3 that we got. Maybe a little bit more weight, maybe a tick more horsepower. I got to look back at the old stuff. I just got the stuff yesterday, so. But I'll give you my recommendation next week.
So the one you're trading is probably the oldest one in the fleet, or?
It's the most broken one.
Most broken one, okay.
That's the
Well,
one that we've
makes
had
sense.
transmission problems with for years.
Well, we've got one with a transmission problem now. We're trying to get a tool so we can adjust the clutches and the gears and the transmit. There's a special tool we need and we can't find it anywhere. We've tried to talk to Nuss, we've tried to talk to Van Keppel or whoever bought Van Keppel out. So I'd have talked to Ben and find out where he's at with that, but still got one in the shop. Transmission's been rebuilt, we just gotta make sure to get the adjustments done. And it's supposedly a special tool that we need to have, so. So I'll bring that with next week. Submitted the annual report last week. I haven't gotten any feedback from the DOT on whether we got our little issue figured out with some carryover balance, or our last year's numbers and things like that. But what we ended up with is we ended up with a carryover balance of, that can't be right. I'll have to look here again because my obligated, oh yeah, okay. So I did have a carryover balance of 3.4 million and change, but we anticipated only 1.2 million. The difference is 2.2 million. However, some of that carryover balance is almost $1 million in construction that's getting taken care of this year. We had some efficiencies on the budget at about $600,000 that we didn't spend, but we were holding some bills back because we didn't know we owe Worth County my salary yet. We held some bills back from some other subcontractor work because we were worried about where the budget was going to end up. So there's probably about 1.5 million of that we saved money or didn't spend it yet. We had increased revenues, which is really weird considering COVID, but we had about 680,000 in increased revenues. So that takes care of that $2.2 million difference between the carryovers. But so when we're looking at it, I was running it through the fiscal year 22 amendment now. The way things are budgeted and programmed, we might have, this is all dependent on income and expenditures again, that I'm anticipating a fiscal 22 end of year balance of 1.7. So if we want to talk about funding Kirkwood and Hickory, there could be about $1 million of local money we can put towards that. But we also have to consider that we've got flood damage that we're not getting reimbursed for now. We found Lime Kiln Road's got some, not the road itself, but that channel's got some severe scour. We got to look at maybe trying to reinforce the base underneath some of the gabion baskets on the roadside that scoured out. So there's some work we got to do there yet, which will be all on our dime. So there's a little bit of money there. WHKS is still working on getting they've got the cross sections and the profile figured out. They're looking at some of the right-of-way things now. So, and they'll have to come up with an agreement. So we still have engineering costs that we got to pay for out of this carryover balance. So it might look all fine and dandy with the money, but we can still probably obligate some of it to the construction. The question is, are we going to use local money, or some have suggested to bury the farm to market account, which if we bury it now, we're buried for the next, I don't know how many years. So any project we do is going to have to be borrowed.
I don't want to bury the farm to market account because that just pushes all the future paving projects back.
It either pushes it back or it causes us to borrow money to do them.
Yeah.
And right now I need at least $600,000 next year for cold in place recycle on Balsam, because that's got federal aid money or STBG swap money that we're matching. So we can talk more about it at a future time. We've got time to talk about it, but we need to figure it out soon so we can figure out what kind of letting we're going to have. If we're going to do all local money, we can have a local letting and speed things up with letting. Now, the letting really almost doesn't matter because construction can't take place till next year anyway. So whether we have a letting in March or whether we have a letting in November, it's maybe insignificant, other than if you do before the end of the year, maybe the prices are different. Maybe prices go up after December 1 or after January 1. We never know what happens there with pricing. Some might go down, some might go up. Usually never goes down, but so the letting time really isn't as big of a deal as let's figure out how we're going to fund these projects. And I can give you another summary of that FM balance. I was working through that this morning, trying to figure out how to shift things. I know I gave you something here when we did the budgeting on different scenarios of how to pay for the projects, but now that we've got Foothill done, we know where that money was, we can reevaluate. I know what my balances are in the foreign market account. We can kind of project and find out where we're at. It's going to take me some tweaking on some formulas in the software or the spreadsheet that I've made, so I can try to bring that to you next week. We can look at that too. But funding's the issue, or which direction we're taking funding.
There's some talk about federal infrastructure money gonna be trickling down to the counties too.
Well-
And how much and when, I don't.
That'll be great, but whether we can use it on that or whether we gotta use it for something else, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
There's an ARP, the National Associ, I think it's NACE, our National Association is, having a webinar in a couple weeks on the ARP money, and because every county in the nation is trying to figure out what they can spend the money on, and nobody's really given anybody direction, so.
Yeah.
There's a webinar that hopefully I can get in, I got another meeting that day, so we'll see if I can log on to the webinar and get some more information on what's viable for us to spend that money on. If there is anything, you know.
Right, if there is, yeah. So maybe we should just hold off for a little bit and see
Well,
how
and
some of this
I
stuff
don't know what the
plays
new,
out.
I don't know what the new transportation bill is gonna have in it, whether they've passed a new one yet. I haven't paid attention to the news lately, but,
Yep. Yep.
So, that being said, we can kind of just giving you an update on where the funding and stuff is. We took applications for a weed commissioner. We interviewed an individual. I emailed you on, what my recommendation was. I don't have his. The wrong file with me, I think, but. Brent Chapman is the individual we interviewed. Gave you guys the email on what we were recommending. I did have an error in the step pay, but the percentages are what we normally pay for that, so I guess I'm recommending Brent Chapman for our new weed commissioner and roads employee, roadside manager. Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
It's good enough for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll take your
Enough for me.
recommendation,
All
I
right,
guess.
he's actually wanting to get on board and wanting to get going, so
He's got a lot to learn.
he does. Yeah,
The weed commissioner part will be a lot easier than the rest.
yeah. Well, it's just, it's a section of the code that he's got, and I've informed him about what the responsibilities are, and he still reports to you guys on the weed commissioner things, but there's a lot to learn. And just for an FYI, we put out a ad in the paper for hiring another maintenance employee. The deadline has been up, we got applicants. It's not much different than any other county around here, any other business around here. I don't know if it was Floyd, Chickasaw, whatever, had 2 openings, got 7 applicants. And we're not finding all the right people. We do have one that is somebody that we can probably use. It's gonna take training. We don't find people very often that have a lot of experience, but I just don't think we're keeping up with either we're not keeping up with salaries or something else is going on in the job market that nobody can find anybody to work. So until something happens, we're gonna be struggling to find employees anyway. But just so you know, there's 3 applicants for this position that we're hiring for. And we'll interview and see what comes of it.
Well, I think we better get Brent on board and get him going, being as we're gonna have another new one soon too,
Yep.
so. it'll be
And
training.
I don't know what the weed commissioner thinks, since you guys appoint the weed commissioner, whether that's something that can happen later. If we hire him as a secondary roads employee, you guys are aware of who that employee is, and then you guys can make that appointment after he's hired on. I guess I don't know how that works, but he's your appointment for weed commissioner, so right now, I guess we hire him as secondary roads employee, and then you guys can at a later date, knowing that the job description was weed commissioner. I think you still need to make an appointment of that person. I'm not positive, Rachel, but I'm thinking that's what needs to happen, so we'll get him on board and,
When you interviewed him, you asked questions in regards to weed commissioner questions also?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, has he had previous experience?
He's got a lot of spray experience.
Then we should just have him become the weed commissioner
He's got
immediately.
20+ years of pesticide application.
I'm going by, I just, asked the question, if you asked those questions, I'm going by your.
Yeah, he had
recommendations.
questions about the code and everything else. I said, this is what basically the weed commissioner's job is. He knows what the job is and what he's got to follow.
Well, if he has the knowledge and the ability to do it, I would suggest that.
I think he'll fit rather well. I mean, it doesn't have all of our roadside stuff that we're always looking for, but I think we just probably when we had Austin, we got lucky that somebody was in conservation already. We can learn the roadside stuff with the other management of natural grasses and stuff for seeding, but we've already got that process started. So to me, I think the important thing for you guys is to get somebody in here that can take care of noxious weeds. And on our end right now, we're looking for bodies to put in equipment and spray. So, and I think the other stuff that comes later, we can train, we can fix.
Yeah, if he has that much experience with it, I think he's good choice.
Yep. So, I think that's all I have for you this morning.
Okay. So on a future date, we have to officially.
We can do it now. If you
I think we wanna do it now.
Should let's get, I'm pretty sure he's on board with the job, but let's get
Okay,
him
okay.
officially hired, and then we can do
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that
Okay.
might be the best thing.
Okay.
Okay, yep.
Because you guys don't need them right now
No,
anyway,
no,
but you
no.
do need a report filled out at the end of the year and things like that. Let's get him on board,
Okay.
get him in here, and then we can do that at a later date. That sound fine?
And see how he works out for stuff too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Get the
Yep.
feel of it and stuff,
Yep.
so.
That's fine. Yep.
All right.
How about, were you able to use some of the, I'm gonna say the riprap and stuff from the Line Kill area to
We did.
320th? Because
We
I
did.
see them going by my
Yeah.
house, so I wondered if you were ahead of that.
We took what we could, and I haven't been down to Lime Kiln since last week, since I was gone, but to look at it, but I know we hauled load after load out of
Yeah.
there, because we ran out of our own stuff, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we used what we could, which was really beneficial. I just don't know how what we were thinking about is, we're not obligated to do much more other than open that access for the reams, just to get them through there. But there's a lot of material there that, I don't know, I guess it's private property, so I don't know that we're allowed to even take it, but there's usable material for other things, and if anything else, we could take the material and shove it back in that hole upstream, but that water took slabs that were tons and tons of weight. That little stuff isn't gonna stay in. We gotta figure out, maybe we gotta put gabions back in the bottom of that hole to kind of reduce. It's a mess up there, and it's just gonna keep scouring out. What happens is that water gets narrowed around that curve, so it's got all this velocity and force, but then when it gets beyond there, everything opens up, so it relieves all that. So you get that narrowed down water channel, and just, the forces just take chunks, boulders of rock and push it downstream. I know when you're out there during a flood, and I've heard it when the other flood, you can hear the rocks rolling and break, they're rolling and breaking the steel cages of those gabion baskets. They just got that much force that they'll break it, and once they break open, then all that rock gets washed out, and there you set, so. But we did use what we could.
I stood there one time when it just started to flood. It was just a little creek,
Mhm.
literally about this wide that it was started. Within 20 minutes, it was a river running through.
Yep,
there.
I watched it come through the trees the one time we had some heavy rain. I'm like, okay, let's go check Lime Kiln, and you could just see it coming through the trees, and it was just like you see in the movie with a lava flow or something. It just
Yeah.
slowly comes, and it just gets bigger as it comes
Yeah.
through.
It was
Just amazing.
Well, the hole that you're talking about, that isn't in any danger to people?
Not to the
or-
public, no, but it has undermined a little bit of our gabion wall, which is far enough off the right of way, it's not gonna be an immediate threat, but it probably needs to be addressed with something. So, yeah, it's not a direct threat to the public right now, safety-wise. But it's been a battle every flood, no matter what. It just,
Yeah.
there's a big stair step in the loss of that limestone slabs.
Okay. Is that everything you need?
That's all I've got.
Okay, so this is up to us supervisors now. Do we have any motions to put Brett Chapman, or to hire Brett Chapman as a maintenance employee for secondary roads? With the possibility down the road that we would make him weed commissioner.
So moved.
Jim has made a motion.
I'll second.
Mike has seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Mark,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye?
Jim,
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
So, Rich, you have a new employee.
You just found out.
All right, good luck with that.
All right, we'll get him going and we'll get the next stage of employment going too.
Okay,
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody want fishing lessons you can take me with next time you go?
Really? Okay. You're that good, huh?
I have fishing lesson. You take the pole and throw it in the pond.
No,
All
the
right.
guys are mad at me the last 10 years. I've won 3 times, so.
Oh,
Fishing pro.
All right, moving on down the line. Number 9, approved liquor license for Mitchell Tire and Auto Repair. And Jim, you said you'd got in touch with them. Do you have any?
Yeah, I just, naturally when you see that, as far as a liquor license for a tire and auto repair place, you just kind of wonder, and he made it clear that it's not intermingled, there's a convenience store there also, and it's just basically carry out beer, so.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license.
Mark has made a motion to approve the liquor license for Mitchell Tire and Auto Repair. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Todd has seconded. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Mark,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
So we have officially approved the liquor license of Mitchell Tire and Auto Repair. Moving on, discussion and action on installing electrical service to enclosed trailer.
I put that on the agenda. After we had last week's meeting, we talked about the truck and the trailer. And so then I looked at their application, and the 2 trailers, the new and used trailer that they were thinking of proposing to purchase didn't have electrical in them, and then there's a estimate from a local electrician to put electricity into those trailers. So then I thought, well, for now at least, maybe we can just still put electricity into the trailer that we have, and they can utilize that for what they need to do this fall. And talked with our maintenance guy, Dave. He had no issue with doing that. So I guess I'm proposing that we would do that. Board comments, thoughts?
No, I think we got a trailer, let's just put electricity in it for now. And
It can be utilized,
Yeah.
and it would be better or cheaper than trying to acquire another trailer.
Yeah, but they'll have to make, and I talked with the electrician because I wanted to see where he was at with it. And I mentioned to him that he needs to talk with Dave because they do haul voting equipment with that. Don't want to be shoving something in there and busting something off the wall, so it's going to have to be placed so that we don't have an issue with that. Because it's his trailer to be used for rough service also, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Sits most of the time though, don't it?
A lot of times, yeah.
Just,
The voting machines have to roll in on it. It
Yeah.
is a tight pad. Anything added may be better if it's to the front.
For electrical stuff, or?
I mean, you know, if there's a big box or something, any lines, I'm sure, will come down the walls, but
Yeah.
if there's a large box or something, maybe if it's up to the front, because those voting machines fit in there tight on that trailer.
or keep the electrical above the, I don't know how tall the voting machines are.
Truthfully, yeah, if it's high.
Oh, because they're all, like here, the electrical
Yeah.
just above it.
Voting machines are about
That'll be a
so
problem.
tall.
Right.
He can talk with Dave, and Dave can
They'll figure out.
walk through it with him, and,
Okay.
Need a motion and second on that?
I think we need a motion on
Well,
that.
I'll move that, Laura, do you have any comments about any of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna be using Chris's until that's finished.
Okay.
Because he hasn't given a date yet, correct?
No, he has some of the other electrical work he needs to do for the county, and he was hoping to do both at the same time.
Okay, yeah, and we cleaned out, the trailer yesterday, so we plan on using EMA's trailer for starting next week.
You guys can pull it?
No, he's gonna have to take it.
He has to do that.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, so.
I'll move to approve, installing electrical service to the enclosed trailer that we currently own.
I'll second that. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
Mark? Steve?
Aye. So, we'll have some power in the trailer. Moving on, approved fireworks permit. And this is for Eric Unken. It will be done at 1996 370th Street. It will be done, fireworks will be shot on 9-25-21. It will start at 10 PM and it will end at 11 PM. So, any comments, questions? Hearing none. Do we have any motions to approve the fireworks permit for Eric Unken?
I'll move to approve the fireworks permit.
Jim has made a motion.
Oh. Sorry.
Mike has seconded.
Yep.
Any further discussion?
Roll call, Steve?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
So, Eric Unken has some fireworks to shoot off. Moving on, introduction of new IT director. So Casey, I'll let you.
Well, Jim and Mike hired me, go ahead.
Well, Paul Berdon is our new IT director. He's from St. Ansgar, so.
Paul. Good luck on the job.
He has a lot of IT experience, so.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for hiring me. Casey's done a wonderful job while I've been here. This is the short time I've got to know him and only know it.
Okay.
It's exciting moving forward.
Yeah, well, it's too much for me. I didn't get involved with hiring because I'm computer illiterate. It takes somebody that has a little knowledge of computers to even know how to hire somebody for your position, so. But yes, good luck on the new job and the
Want to
future.
welcome you. Also want to thank you, Casey, for everything you've done for us.
Yeah.
You know, thank you very much.
Yep, same here.
Yeah,
Casey.
same here.
Casey.
Welcome
yeah.
aboard.
Thank you.
Paul, you indicated you had a conference that you wanted to attend coming up in October, correct?
Yeah, it is an Oktoberfest, IT,
It's,
2 days.
yeah, it's basically a day and a half down in, Des Moines. All the IT directors from the state kind of collaborate there, and they have a lot of good courses, and the networking aspect of it, just, I would highly recommend that you attend that.
I think there was IT and then the next segment, are you going to do both of those?
If there's no overlap,
Okay.
yeah. Whatever is available, I'm jumping in.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
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 It's a free.
So do you, I see the, first one gets over at 5-ish or so, and then the next one starts fairly early. As one member, would we, if he wanted to stay overnight rather than make that drive, would you want to do that?
I think right now, the only answer I said, I don't know, but my preference, I think, would be to drive home.
Okay.
I can talk to you, maybe, staying over if you.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a little gathering afterwards, and if you wanted to visit, it could get later, and I'm just.
I don't know as if he needs to get in touch with us. If you feel that that's a decision that you want to do,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
that's
Yeah, that's your
part of
decision.
your job.
Yep.
So it'd be your decision if you want to do that.
Yep. And the conference is free, right, you said, so I wouldn't say it'd be that expensive to house him down there and keep him off the road anyway, if you would like to do that.
Yep. Keep track of your and turn in your bill. All right, Paul, good luck. Thank you. Moving on, discussion of time capsule. Jim, I think I'll just let you bring up the.
So here's the time capsule. It was sitting in that cornerstone, they made that cornerstone almost the same size as this. It was in there, and then they had this wedge that they put under it to keep it off the bottom, and then they could mortar that cornerstone in without this interfering, I guess is what I'll say. But this thing had some weight on it because this is dimpled in. But anyway, it's I mean, they really crafted it pretty well. It's all bent, and then they soldered the top shut. I think there's a gold ingot in there, but I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, I think it's full of gold. I saw Krista church Sunday morning, but I didn't have time to talk with her. Steve, you indicated the Historical Society maybe become part of this, so I can touch base with her and see what she wants to do. And for now, I talked with Rachel. We can just put that in, lock that up somewhere in the courthouse till we know what we're going to do with it. And I don't want to carry it around my trunk all winter long. So.
No, I think there'd be a place up there in the vault.
So at some point it'll be open, huh?
Pardon me?
At some point to open it up and.
Yeah, and figure out how to open it up. I mean,
They
there's a
might
bunch
be able to open it during their yearly meeting.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, November. You know, again, it's up to them when they want.
Right.
They want to have a special date set. We'll leave it up to them.
I'll talk with her sometime and then get back to you guys as far as what her comments are. And so.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Okay.
Moving on, items of note, meetings attended.
I had a second judicial meeting. They reviewed and approved their budget amendment. It went up by $88,000, so they approved that for the fiscal year 2022. There's a individual, and they had a little speech thing, and there's the director from BG Clerk was over there. And I'll just go through this real briefly. The BG Clerk, it's an alternative for when a judge wants to put somebody in jail, they can put them in the BG Clerk facility to help them and reform them. It's a co-ed facility, there's 55 beds, average stay is 4 months. They have a staff of 16, and the wait time for clients is females are immediate and males are usually 8 to 12 weeks. They went over their Tech 2 program where they put iPads in for inmates in prison to try to keep them more associated with people on the outside as compared to associated with prison life. And they think that's going to be a big success and working towards that. So that was it.
Thank you, Jim. Mike, did you have something?
I had a conservation board meeting, and Elaine Govern was there updating on the Wapsie Trail and talked about the floodgate, the damage. So I don't know if FEMA's out of it now, so I don't know if insurance will cover that. It could be expensive. I don't know, the Huffman house over there that they got, they're renting it to a deputy so I think that's a good deal. They talked about the Pitson cabin, putting electricity up to it for $25,000. And I don't know, talked about their expo this past weekend, and gonna be a drive-through light display at Cedar Bridge Park in December. I don't know what that's gonna.
Christmas tree light display.
Yeah, for businesses are gonna, for Christmas tree lights, so that might be interesting. So, yep, that's.
Elma does that.
Do they?
Yeah, if it's done right, it's pretty cool.
So they're be the first
What
time,
park is
so.
that at?
At the Cedar Bridge Park out there west of town.
Okay, west of town.
Yep. So,
I had nothing.
I had a Heartland Insurance meeting. They're still looking for a new administrator. They got 2 applications they're gonna interview, and then they canceled their fall conference. So, that's about it.
I had a FMC DCAT meeting, just kind of go through the money that they've distributed out. They still have, it's called MST, Multi-Systematic Therapy, Psychiatric Support. They got quite a chunk of money in there, and nobody's filled out applications for it. I did contact a individual at a school in Mason City, which, so the director was gonna make contact with them too, to see if they could get some of this money distributed out, or they lose it. I think it's 2022, they'll be, if they don't use it, they'll have to go back. It can't be put into any other account, so they feel they'll get it used, so that's all I had.
All right. Moving on. Clerk of Court report for August. I, Stacy Olson, Clerk District Court for above named county and state, do hereby certify the following is true and correct statement of fees collected by me in my office for the month ending of August 31st, 2021. That amount is $3,278.24. Any comments? So noted. Moving on, public comment. Randy isn't saying anything, so I guess with nothing else left to discuss, do we have any motions to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Well, the meeting is